Hello and welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. On today's program, we will check in with the folks from the Quincy Choral Society, find out how they're coping during the pandemic. First, though, we check out news for you. National Grid says they are constantly working to upgrade the electricity systems to prevent any future blackouts here in Quincy. During a presentation at this week's City Council meeting, Joe Carroll from National Grid says many times outages are caused by elements that are out of their control.
Around it in terms of overhead, underground, right from that end. Because the men and the women out there in the trucks, they know what's going on. They know that it's even more expectation that we don't want the power to go out, but we want to know before the power goes out, right? And if the power doesn't go out, I've had calls that say, well, why didn't the power go out? So I'm all in for communication. I mean, it's trying to manage that. This one in particular, it was underground where it was through the building. And again, that's why we're trying to get to the bottom of it. I'm the last one to try to point blame other ways, because I'll stand up and I'll take it. As we went through a few of the outages tonight, we noted the ones that it was on us, from that end. So we're not shying away. And I hear the wind and I cringe, yes. But if you look at some of the other, when it gets up to 50, 60 mile per hour, a lot of things happen, from that end. I mean, the infrastructure is good, 35, 40, we're good. When it gets up to 50, 60, you throw in wet snow, you throw in some, I hate to say it, I watch the weather now more than sports, and I'm afraid to even watch it.
Carroll said National Grid is planning to replace a major underground transmission cable along Newport Avenue. That will increase power reliability in Quincy, and he says the utility is always working to better communicate with customers and elected officials. National Grid appeared at the request of Ward 3 Councilor Ian Kane, who expressed frustration at the 14 power outages he says have plagued the North Quincy area since last May. A proposal to rename a portion of Glover Avenue in North Quincy after the late Father Cornelius Heery from Sacred Heart Church raised some controversy at this week's City Council meeting. Mayor Thomas Koch made that request as an ordinance. That caused Ward 4 Councilor Brian Palmucci to question why Koch recently objected to the creation of a new Department of Equity and Social Justice.
The agenda, and having read the mayor's words last week, it really made me think that we have Muslim mosques in this city, we have Buddhist temples in this city, we have Protestant and Baptist churches, among other places of worship. Yet the city, as far as I know, and please someone correct me if you know differently, the city only has streets named after Catholic priests. I know of at least one in Ward 4. I'm not aware of any street named after any other faith leader from any other denomination in the entire city. So while the mayor may say he doesn't see a need, I respectfully disagree. This is what it's about. It's about people who aren't Catholic and how they interact with the government, how they see their city government taking actions, right? I mean, I don't know. Listen, I was raised Catholic, so I'm not the aggrieved party here, right? And that's not what I'm saying, because I don't think to give someone a benefit and not someone else, that there's an aggrievement issue, right? I think that equity is about making sure that you give everybody that same opportunity and that same level of respect, at least in my mind.
Ward 1 Councilor Dave McCarthy questioned why Palmucci was discussing religion during the debate. That caused Palmucci to object to the proposal altogether. That automatically places it on the table for further discussion. No injuries after a house fire in Wollaston this week. Flames ripped through this two-family home at 85 Safford Street Tuesday afternoon, whipped by high winds. 2 people in the home escaped safely. Officials say the fire started on the first floor and quickly spread through the roof of that 3-story home. Firefighters were ordered out of the building just before 2 small explosions blew out some windows. Frigid temperatures also complicated the firefighting efforts. However, surrounding homes were not damaged. Chief Joe Jackson says the fire started accidentally in the kitchen and that the home is likely a total loss. Two men were injured in a rollover crash in Quincy last night. Police say this Jeep Liberty rolled over and struck a home and several other parked cars on Water Street, right near Perfection Auto, at about 11:30 last night. The 29-year-old operator was partially ejected from the vehicle, last reported in critical condition at Boston Medical Center. The 26-year-old passenger was taken to South Shore Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The victims' names have not been released. However, police say they were not from the area. Water Street was closed until 3:30 this morning. The cause of the crash is still under investigation. The Quincy Veterans Services Department being honored as COVID-19 heroes. At this week's City Council meeting, Veterans Services Director George Nicholson said his entire staff has worked hard to ensure that veterans have the food and other necessities of life during the pandemic.
When Noel said that we're listed as COVID-19 heroes, we don't consider that COVID-19 has stopped us at all, not in Quincy. We've got, you mentioned the food drive. It wasn't one. We went out, we've done at least 4 of them. Marshfield, Taunton, Raynham, Paget Field here recently. We've got another one coming up next month. With the clients that we've got, most of them have a hard time getting around, so it becomes important to us, since they can't come to the office anymore, that we may still maintain close ties with our veterans here in the city. And it's been working. My phone rings off the hook.
At the opening of every council meeting, officials take time to recognize an individual, a group, department, or other organization as heroes for helping to serve the Quincy community during the pandemic. Coming up, Sarah Labrie and Cindy Fadua from the Quincy Choral Society will join us next.
Hey, Massachusetts, what do you want to get back to?
Giving hugs, seeing my friends.
Taking my wife dancing.
I want to get back to taking my kids on play dates.
I want to get back to Fenway.
I want to get back to partying.
We've worked hard, but we're not there yet, so we still need to wear a mask that covers your nose and mouth. Keep our distance, at least 6 feet apart. And get tested. It's free and available. We can get back masks. Learn how at mass.gov/getback.
Podcasting 101. Create your own podcast using the QATV audio suite. Learn the basics of the audio board, how to take phone calls, and add music from a CD, SD card, or your phone. Participants will also learn interview skills to help get the most out of your guest. To register for a session, email Carol Themin at cthemin@qatv.org or call 617-376-1440.
Things could be stranger, but I don't know how. I'm going through changes now. Could spend a lifetime trying to figure it out. I'm going through changes, through all of the strangeness. I'm going through changes now.
I hear someone go, "Didn't it come from you guys?"
Strangers cough at me.
Move away from me.
Someone spit towards my direction. All the stereotypes that we've worked so hard to break are just going to be reversed. And I won't let that happen.
We all have to play our part.
I donate my plasma.
I've been making masks.
We deserve respect as much as everybody else.
I'm a firefighter, not a virus.
I'm a mask maker, not a virus.
I'm a nurse.
I'm a delivery woman, chef, a neighbor, artist,
Bus driver.
I'm a doctor.
Fight the virus. Fight the virus.
So pleased to welcome to the program today from the Quincy Choral Society, its president, Lucinda Fadua, and also choral director, Sarah Labrie. Hi, ladies.
Hello, Joe. How are you?
Doing great. Nice to see you both. Thanks for spending some time. Appreciate it. Sarah, nice to see you.
Yes, you as well.
I thought it'd be a good opportunity here to kind of check in and let folks know that the Choral Society is, yes, still around and still in existence and eagerly anticipating in-person performances again, Cindy. But in the meantime, maybe if you could give us a little status report on how things have been going during this pandemic.
Well, needless to say, we've all been very disappointed to not be together. And of course, it's so difficult to keep the group together and keep them entertained, per se. But Sarah came up with some really clever ideas along with a committee that we put together that allowed, we did some master classes and some vocalization techniques, and even a little cabaret where everybody sang their own little songs or big stories or poems, and that was a fun night. And in the meantime, that was sprinkled amongst some rehearsals and virtual recordings of a couple of songs. One is what we call our theme song is Uma Familia, and so we were able to perform that, and Sarah, with her computer magic, was able to make us sound wonderful. And so we did that. And a second song, another virtual recording was Let There Be Peace on Earth, was another recording. So that was two of our projects that we've had pretty good participation. Of course, we would love for a lot more people to join in with us to do that. But right now, I think people listen to themselves and hear their voice recorded, and they go, "Oh, that's me! Oh, I sound terrible!" And they just, no, I don't want to do that. When you're amongst a group of people singing, you don't hear yourself; you hear everybody around you instead. And so, I think that was a little bit of an eye opener for many people to see that. But it's been fun. It's been a challenge, no doubt about it. And we've had pretty good participation. And then since then, Sarah, with a colleague out in the UK, has come up with this collaborative, and we're working on that currently. I'll let Sarah explain that. But in the meantime, we're doing many video recordings because it's our 40th anniversary of Quincy Choral Society. So we've posted on our Facebook page recording interviews with past presidents, past conductors, original members. One of the girls was one of the original accompanists, and of course our current accompanist is Gingy Grimes. She too interviewed, and so those are all up on our Facebook page and our website. So that's been something to keep us busy and a way to recognize our 40th anniversary, as we can't do it any other way right now.
When you can recognize it, Cindy, what would you like to do?
I think we would love to have a concert that, a master concert that we would, master program that we would be able to perform for the group, for the city, and just, put out a very special kind of concert that, would be a signature piece for us. So.
How many members right now in the society?
My email list is well over 100, about 125, 28. And then weekly, we get about 30, is it, Sarah? 40 people?
It's been about 35 to 40 on a weekly basis, kind of rotating in and out.
Yeah. And so I would think with current members paying dues is well over 80 plus people.
Okay. So a healthy group for sure. And I know a lot of them are longtime members. Any been there for the entire 40 years, Cindy?
Yes, yes. We have two ladies. Martha McMahon she's one of the first, and then Diane Murphy. She's another original member. So we have several people that have been there from the beginning.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And what would you say the breakdown is between men and women?
Definitely women, alto and soprano voices are, much higher than the men in bass tenor voices. But I think it's a pretty rounded out balance between the two. So yeah, I think we're doing pretty well as far as that's concerned. Of course, we always want more men to join.
Well, to that end, how do you do that?
Join in a meeting. Come on to on into Zoom if you're interested, and you can contact me through the Quincy Choral website and quincychoral.org. And I could always put you in touch with someone to join into a Zoom meeting that we have.
Okay, great. Good to know. So, Sarah, it must be, musical performance is such an in-person experience, both for the performer and, for the listener. So this must have been quite a challenging time for you.
Yeah, it's been a challenge, but I've been thrilled with the attendance and the family of the membership that has come together and said, even if we can't sing in person this year, let's do something. Let's keep meeting together. Let's make music. Let's find ways to use this technology to our advantage as much as we can. And so we've made those few virtual choirs so far, which, like Cindy was alluding to earlier, they're just difficult to make on your own. When you record and you sit in a room and you have to sing your part all by yourself.
Well, everybody becomes a soloist, right, at that time?
Exactly, yes.
And we were talking with the membership about our first virtual choir that we made. And one of our members said the best thing, and I'll never forget it. She said, I'm just like a banana. I'm one of the bunch. And she said, I'm not meant to be alone. And I think that just captured how everyone was feeling about making these videos.
And that's the nature of choral music, right? It's a community experience, yeah.
Exactly. So, the virtual performances certainly don't make up for what we would do in, the before times or so. So we say, but it does keep our voices fresh and active. And I think we learned pretty early on that if you don't continue to actively use your voice, it really does weaken. And coming back in to try to just sing a big thing like you might have done on a weekly basis becomes much more difficult if you're not even on a regular basis speaking to people, not just singing, but if you're not really using your voice at all because you're quarantined at home. This is just a great way for people to keep using their voices and exercising that and being social and making music as best as we can.
Yeah. I'm curious. Did you find any, kind of hidden talent that you might not have experienced otherwise in the society?
Well, I think it was actually kind of a blessing early on to hear all of these individual voices. I know people were horrified to send me their individual videos at first, but coming in as a new director, it really gave me a chance to get to know people's voices better, and to hear them on an individual basis in a way that I might not normally. But in terms of hidden talents, my gosh, when we did the cabaret night, that was just a hoot. We had Joel was singing and playing the piano and accompanying himself, and we had musical theater and pop and jazz and all sorts of just amazing performances.
That sounds like an awful lot of fun. Now, are those performances available online too?
I don't believe we recorded that. No, we didn't record those.
It was just an experience for the members then to remember.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So, Sarah, will it influence, the way you kind of direct the society going forward?
Yes, I think absolutely. It's been so interesting to get to know people in this other way. It's easy to feel like when you walk into a big rehearsal and it's a whole group who's been established and they know each other well, and you come in as the new kid on the block, right? And it can be difficult to get to know people on an individual basis. So I feel like we've gotten a chance to get to know each other a little bit better in this season, but also work through some of these difficult things and some of these challenges. So like Cindy was saying at the beginning of the season, we started with a lot of master classes on different vocal techniques, musicianship. We brought in some guest speakers from other choirs across the country. And in doing just one piece at a time, it felt like not quite the same as what we would normally do in a rehearsal where you're working on many, many pieces or a multi-movement larger work. So we sort of switched directions for this spring half of the season to what we might normally do, actually, which is work on a masterwork in the spring. So as Cindy started talking about, we're doing currently a collaboration with a choral society in the UK called the Reigate and Redhill Choral Society.
I'm sorry, what is it again?
It's the Reigate and Redhill Choral Society.
Okay.
And their director is a friend of mine who I'd met a couple of years ago, Cole Bendel, in a conducting workshop. So we met overseas, and in this virtual world, we've been plunged into the same thing where, well, it's Zoom rehearsals for now, but how do we make music? And so these virtual choirs that we've been doing, take a lot of time, take a lot of effort. And there have been a lot of really innovative people in the tech world trying to find a way to make that easier for singers and directors and people putting the whole product together. And so there is a software called Choirless, which for this collaboration, we and the Reigate and Redhill Choral Society are doing the beta tests for. So it's not actually quite available to the general public yet, but it is a software where you basically put in sort of the track that you want to record to, and then each singer sings their part right into the computer and it just mixes it for you into a virtual performance pretty quickly, actually. But what makes this really special is that Cole over in the UK is able to direct an orchestra live and in person, which is going to serve as the basis for our accompaniment. So he'll be conducting the orchestra live and we'll be able to sing with that and the Choral Society overseas and do this massive production, hopefully, of the Foray.
Wow, that is now, why this particular piece?
Oh gosh, the Foray Requiem is just a fabulous staple of choral music. And I think partially because it's a piece that may be well known by a lot of singers because they may have done it in years prior. So rather than starting from scratch, we thought doing a masterwork that is fairly well known might draw more people into the experience. And I think it did. When we started rehearsals, we saw some faces that hadn't been around for the fall, but they thought, oh, I love this piece of music. I want to take part.
So when can we expect to see this performance, Sarah?
So we're hoping, this is, of course, all of this depends on when the UK is out of their tier 3 lockdown.
Oh yeah, that little fly in the ointment, yeah.
Yes. So we are aiming for having this done about mid-May.
Okay.
To put out. And of course, once this is done, we will have a recording of it that we'd be happy to share out. And we're hoping that this beta test goes well. Of course, it's a new software, so anything could happen.
Sure. It must be exciting, though, to be able to, put this international experience together, something you probably never dreamed you'd be able to do.
Right. QCS has gone on several international tours.
Right.
And I think that was something that we would have loved to do to celebrate the 40th anniversary. But this is sort of a fun way to mimic that in this virtual world. And we're hoping to even one of these Saturdays have a collaboration where our choral societies can meet each other, have a little bit of a meet and greet. Of course, our regular Monday evening at 7:30 p.m. doesn't really work for them because it's 3 a.m. So.
Right. We don't have any software to make up for the time difference yet. So,
No.
Cindy,
Somebody would be very blurry-eyed. Somebody would be very blurry-eyed if we were to meet with them at the normal times of day. So
yeah,
we have to be very cautious of that.
Well, I mean, Cindy, wouldn't the society typically be doing some kind of a spring performance in May?
Yeah,
yeah,
we would. Yeah, we would be. May is usually our master's work program,
Right.
and it's a big production as far as our May concert is concerned. So this collaboration will sort of substitute for it. Unfortunately, we won't have, a live audience, but at the same time, it keeps us very involved with our musical skills. And as you said earlier, everybody has to be a soloist, and that's what I mentioned in one of our Monday evenings. That I myself am practicing as if I am the soloist, singing my own part in each of these sections of the 4A. So you really have to be on your game and able to hold your own, because you don't have anybody around you to help you. Like, what was that note? Wait, where are we? So yeah, you're a soloist and not one of the bunch anymore.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
time around.
In some ways, I guess it's you're really improving your craft, right? Your art.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
And Sarah, as a teacher, I'm sure that's something that you try and get students to do all the time.
Yes, and I was actually saying this the other night. So I'm in school right now, but of course we haven't been able to sing indoors, and so being here in the building means that I can't sing. So even my students that are in person or remote, we can't do any sort of rehearsal whatsoever. So it's been sort of nice with QCS that because we're all remote, we are able to sing, in our own spaces. But it's certainly been challenging in terms of my own pedagogy and teaching, right? How I would run a rehearsal, because obviously on Zoom, everybody has to be muted.
Right.
So I say, okay, everybody, let's go through this section. And I hear silence, So it's been fun in rehearsing and going through the scores each week before we rehearse. And in my preparation, I play through and sing through everyone's part. Okay. That way I know, okay, when we get to this section, the tenors are going to have a hard time navigating this interval. So I'm going to need to spend some time practicing that and just taking my best guess at what might be difficult for each section of singers.
Right.
But there's no response, of course.
The silence is literally deafening, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, Sarah is very encouraging to us by saying, oh, that was lovely. Wasn't that wonderful? It's like, what? What did you hear?
Well, you need a vivid imagination, I suppose.
It's so encouraging to hear that positive reinforcement to say, you're doing it. Keep going. And it's like, if she really heard what we did, it's like, oh. I guess I got to practice that part a little bit more.
It feels sort of like being Dora the Explorer, when you ask a rhetorical question and, good job!
Sure, yeah. Well, I mean, people talk a lot about the mind's eye, but in this case, it's the mind's ear. You really kind of have to envision hearing it, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Interesting, yeah. Sarah, I'm curious, does the pandemic or has it, influenced the way you select the musical pieces to perform?
Yes, actually. I think in terms of doing these online rehearsals and trying to program repertoire, you certainly have to back off a bit from what you might normally do. A lot of the times in choral rehearsals, you have, stronger sight readers and people with great ears, and all of those skills can be sort of put together to help the whole group learn a piece.
Yeah.
But as we have all these different learning styles online, the pace is a bit slower. And so choosing a piece of work that will allow singers to feel accomplished fairly quickly has been really important. We had hopefully planned on doing the Duraflay Requiem last spring, and I would have loved to do that now, but it's a bit more challenging than the Foray, and so doing it online I don't think would have been as successful. So saving that one for in person will be great, but certainly less is more in terms of the selections.
And give people something to look forward to as well. But I think you probably want positive reinforcement. That way people don't get discouraged, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like you've got a great future ahead. I'm really looking forward to this this virtual performance with the group from the UK. That sounds very interesting.
Oh, thank you. We're looking forward to it. And we have one more movement of the Foray to learn, and then it's just polishing from there. So we've already got 6 out of the 7.
Yeah.
Sure. Cindy, I'm curious, is the Society planning to do anything at all with the Quincy 400 celebration in a few years?
Yes, we are. And that's something that through the mayor's office, and we'll be in touch with them to hear what they would like. We were given a little hint that there may be a June outdoor performance. It's kind of up in the air still. So, we're going day by day and week by week to see what we can do and where. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint anything right now. Yeah. But yes, definitely we would be involved with that in some sort or another.
Yeah, I remember the collaboration with the Quincy Symphony that you had was just fabulous.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that again. Yes, we would like to be in touch with Yoshi has already. I'm sorry, not Yoshi. Yoichi is in touch with me as to this may happen, but we need to wait a little bit more. Just giving you a heads up. So hopefully that'll come through.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sarah, what will be the first song of the first in-person performance for the Quincy Choral Society when that happens?
Oh, that's a great question. I think one of the things I'd love to do is we've spent all of this time virtually learning all this music. When we get back together, why not start by singing the stuff that we've been learning that we haven't been able to hear each other with? So even in early rehearsals, of course, we haven't decided what our first concert will be.
Right.
But I imagine we'd love to sing the Foray all together.
Okay.
And take a read through, or even some of the stuff we did for virtual choirs, the Uma Familia, Coming Home, and Let There Be Peace on Earth.
I think that'd be really appropriate. Yeah, I'm sure very familiar too for folks to be able to see each other perform that in person.
I imagine there will be a lot of tears. Happy tears.
Happy tears. Yeah, exactly. So, anything else you'd like to share with folks right now about the Quincy Choral Society?
Well, for our 40th anniversary, we've had our masks made up with our Quincy Choral logo. And if anyone would like to support Quincy Choral, the masks are $10 a piece. And that would be a wonderful way to support us. And you can send in your donation to our P.O. Box 108, Wollaston, Mass. 02170. And Gordon, our treasurer, will be happy to mail out a mask to anyone who would love to donate. And if you don't want a mask, you can still donate. We have been very graciously given. A deceased member was able to give us her IRA account. And we received a very substantial donation, which is allowing us to continue through this year without any funds or income from our concerts.
Right.
So any little bit helps at this point. And so we still have some bills to pay, and so it would be wonderful, and we would love to see more people walking around with our Quincy Coral face masks.
Well,
We thought that was appropriate for this particular year
yes,
to
and I
honor
think
the
we're gonna
40th
be-
anniversary.
Yeah, we're going to be needing them for a while going forward anyway. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a remarkable story, Cindy. Did that family want that person recognized, or they choose to remain anonymous?
At this point, I would hesitate giving
Sure.
the name of the individual,
Sure.
but she was a very long-time member, and it was beyond generous that we would ever think that she
Oh,
would
That's just wonderful. That's great.
bestow her IRA to us.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
Well, we've had a really exciting year, and I want to invite folks, if they're interested in joining QCS. We are more than happy to take new members. Whether you'd like to join us for the spring and just do some singing, even if they don't want to participate in the virtual performance, and maybe just meet the members, see what we do, check us out. And we are hoping to come back in the fall to in-person rehearsals and things. Of course, we're playing it one day at a time.
Right.
So we don't want to speak too soon on that. But we are looking forward to hopefully having more folks join us for these performances in the future. They can reach out to us anytime if they have questions through our website. We have a YouTube, a Facebook, all of those things that are actively monitored. So just think of us when you're thinking about returning to your in-person activities.
Yeah, and I think that's great. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I know you were practicing over in East Milton. Is that still going to be the case? Do you know?
Yes. At the East Congregational Church on Adam Street in Milton, and their lower fellowship hall is where we practice when we're in person.
Right.
Currently, the church just sent out a notice saying that they are not allowing any in-person gatherings until June.
Okay.
So we'll be we'll be on Zoom for the remainder of this season.
Okay. And then for an in-person performance, when that happens, where will that be, Cindy?
Right now, it depends on the time of year where we would be able to. I can't answer that. I wish I could until we know when we can do a live performance. It will all determine where we'll be able to perform.
Yeah. TBD, I think, is the
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That once we have that information, that will be again website and Facebook and YouTube. Those are our three. Facebook and YouTube are new to Quincy Coral this year. We had some very savvy individuals with computer skills, not me, but others were very good at it, and were able to put many of our concerts on the YouTube page, and most of these interviews are on both the Facebook and the YouTube page. So
Yeah,
check us out.
it's the new normal, as they say.
It certainly is. Yeah.
I want to thank you both. Really appreciate the opportunity. It's been a lot of fun, and hopefully we've let folks here in Quincy know that the Quincy Choral Society is still alive and well, and can't wait to see you all in person.
Oh, thank you, Joe, for having us. We truly appreciate it. We want to be back in the public. We want to be back out there. We have a great following, a great fan base. So we really want to be out there singing for the community.
Thank you so much, Joe.
You're very welcome. Be well, both of you, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
special thank you to Sarah Labrie and Lucinda Fedua for joining us today. Thank you to our crew. Thank you for watching. On Monday, John Paul, the car doctor from AAA Northeast, will be joining us on the program. And a reminder to visit our website anytime. Go to QATV.org. You'll find all of our latest programs, news and information, video on demand, live streaming, and much more. For all of us here at Quincy Access Television, I'm Joe Catalano. Please stay safe.